What if you lost everything you'd ever worked for in a single day? Your wealth, your family, even your health. Would your faith survive? This is exactly what happened to one of history's most famous figures, and his response changed how we think about suffering forever. Meet Job, a man who had it all. Living in the ancient land of Uz, he was incredibly wealthy, owning thousands of sheep, camels, and cattle. He had 10 children, a loving family, and was known throughout the region for his righteousness and generosity. Job was the kind of person everyone admired, someone who seemed blessed by the divine. He was a kind of man that God could boast of as a blameless and upright, constantly mindful to live in a righteous manner. Job 1:1. God was so pleased with Job's life that he confidently boasted of him to Satan. "Have you considered my servant Job? There is none like him on the earth." Job 1:8. So Satan answered the Lord and said, "Does Job fear God for nothing?" And Satan requests permission to taste Job, which God granted him, except touching his life. So Satan triggered disasters with devastating speed. In one horrific day, raiders stole his livestock and killed his servants. A fire consumed his sheep and shepherds, his camels were stolen, and more servants died. Then came the most crushing blow of all. A great wind collapsed the house where all 10 of his children were feasting together, killing them instantly. As if these weren't enough, Job's body became covered with painful boils from head to toe. His wife, overwhelmed by their losses, told him to curse God and die. His friends, who came to comfort him, ended up making things worse by insisting that Job must have done something terrible to deserve such punishment from God. For days, Job sat in ashes, scraping his sores with broken pottery. He questioned why the innocent suffer while the wicked prosper. He demanded answers from God, refusing to accept simple explanations for his pain. His friends argued that suffering always comes from sin, but Job knew this wasn't true in his case. In response to Job's prayers, God spoke to Job directly, not with explanations, but with questions that revealed the vastness of creation and the limits of human understanding. God asked Job if he was there when the foundations of the earth were laid, if he could command the morning or bind the stars. Job realized that his suffering wasn't punishment, it was part of a larger story he couldn't fully comprehend. In humility, he encouraged himself and trusted God. For his persistent faith, Job's health returned, his wealth doubled, and he had 10 more children. But the real transformation was internal. Job had encountered the divine mystery and found peace not in understanding everything, but in trusting despite of the challenges. Job's story continues to resonate because it addresses questions we all face. Why do good people suffer? How do we maintain hope in dark times? Sometimes the answer isn't an explanation, but the courage to keep believing when life doesn't make sense. Please like and share, and subscribe to get updates of new videos.